Diddy Docket for Thursday, June 26th. The prosecution delivered its closing argument. It was given by Assistant U.S. Attorney Christy Slavik. She told the jury that they must find that Diddy knowingly and willingly agreed that him and another member of the conspiracy did commit 2 racketeering acts. Slavik said there's also evidence of multiple acts committed by Combs Enterprise. She goes through every charge, every instance given either through testimony or evidence given that shows that Diddy committed every charge, every act. Slavik listed the categories of the crimes for the jury to find that Diddy and a member of his enterprise, which would be an employee, an assistant, a chief of staff, security, or bodyguard, agreed to commit, and that included distributing drugs, kidnapping, arson, bribing witnesses who had seen Diddy commit a crime, facilitating Cassie and Jane's sex trafficking, facilitating travel for Diddy, any of his girlfriends, and the male escorts for commercial sex, forced labor, and then helping Diddy cover up any of those crimes. It calls Diddy the leader of a criminal enterprise, that he used his power and his money to service his personal needs through violence, coercion, and manipulation. So first, the enterprise, which is just this inner circle. A lot of people got tripped up on the enterprise because we think of mafia, drug dealers, things of that sort when it comes to RICO cases where everybody is involved in making money off of whatever the crime is, but that's not necessarily the definition, not when it comes to sex trafficking as it is in Diddy's case. His enterprise is his inner circle, which would be his employees. Christina Quorum, the chief of staff, his bodyguards, assistants, who all were loyal to him. They only existed to serve his needs and do what he asked them to do. So they have to find him guilty of 2 racketeering acts under the racketeering conspiracy count. So they can choose 2 from drug distribution, kidnapping, arson, bribery, or sex trafficking. They only have to find him guilty unanimously of 2 of those. And then he will be found guilty of the racketeering conspiracy charge. Everybody who's got on the stand has talked about the drug distribution, about them buying drugs for Diddy, seeing him do drugs, having him pay for people to come drop drugs off to him personally, kidnapping. Earlier in the case with Capricorn Clark testified that bodyguards or somebody came to her house on Diddy's behalf, took her to a warehouse and forced her to take lie detector tests. It's kidnapping. Arson. Even though there was no physical evidence, there were some text messages from Cassie that discuss how Diddy was behind Kid Cudi's car being caught on fire. Bribery. We're going to go back to the Intercontinental Hotel. The security tape of Diddy attacking Cassie, where Christina Quorum is trying to get in contact with security so she could get a copy of the tape, contacted him through his testimony and through text messages which corroborate that. They met, he paid for the tape, he requested that it be deleted. Diddy knew that he would be arrested for attacking Cassie based on what was shown on that security tape, so that is bribery, paying for the tape and having it deleted. Sex trafficking. This is another one that tripped people up. Prostitution is illegal. You cannot pay people to engage in a sexual activity with you and pay them. That is prostitution. So, paying for escorts is prostitution. So regardless of how people personally feel about Cassie and Jane voluntarily participating in these acts, that they were just girlfriends, that he is just freaky, prostitution is still illegal. You cannot pay for somebody to fly in and have sex with you. Forced labor is also an element under the racketeering conspiracy charge. So the prosecution outlines the fact that even though sometimes Cassie and Jane might have agreed to it, there were times where they were forced to take drugs, participate in those hotel nights against their will. That is forced labor. I think the prosecution did an excellent job streamlining this information for the jury. They did put on 6 weeks of witnesses. A lot of evidence was given. So to go through each incident that supported each element of the racketeering charge to make it clear for them, I hope was very helpful for them. A lot of people still think that Diddy didn't do anything wrong, that, he just has a freaky nature. But in my opinion, the prosecution showed that he is the leader of a criminal enterprise, that all these people work together to help him cover up these crimes. drug trafficking, prostitution, bribery. The arson is the one that's a little iffy. Forced labor, witness tampering. All those were made clear based on witness testimony and evidence. So they finished their closing arguments today. The defense will put on their closing argument tomorrow. I'm guessing it's probably going to be just as long as the 30 minutes that it took them to put their case on. And then the jury will deliberate on Monday. So, to all my doubters out there, do you still think that Diddy is going to be found out guilty? Do you think that even if he is found guilty, he's not going to get a lot of time? A lot of people still think that he's only going to get probation. That'd be interesting to see. Until next time.